Hey crafty friends, this is Chelsea. In today's video, I am sharing with you a layout share. I love watching them and I think you guys do too. And I've had this stack of pages building over on the corner of one of my tables as I was just finishing layouts and putting them there, and I needed to go through and do my journaling. So I did that, and now these are ready to be put away. So I thought I would quickly show you some of these layouts. Some you have seen, there's videos for, some you have not seen. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start first with this 2-page layout. This is using the Gnomes for Spring paper, and also this really cute postage frame thin cut here. I did some fancy folds for these flowers. This was actually a layout that I taught in the Creative Design Team membership, and I love how it came together. I love this paper with the writing kind of going in a circle like that. I thought it's a really fun kind of design element, and it was a great way to squeeze in a whole bunch of these really fun springtime photos. If you guys are watching this the day I'm posting it, tomorrow is the last day to sign up for the Creative Design Team membership. We are open for registration, closing March 25th. So I will put the link for that down below. We teach a class every week, a tip video, and there's 7 of us, so you get a good assortment of styles. Here is one that I just created recently, and I do have a video on my channel for this one. I love these little bunnies. They have some really fun coloring details on them, and in my video I did actually show a demo of how I colored them with some colored pencils. And of course that really pretty thin cut. Hopefully this thin cut will be coming back in stock. I use it in quite a few places. The leaves, these little flowers, same with the flower border down here. And I used the Honey Bunny paper along with a little bit of Seabrook glitter paper and the stickers, a few stickers from that sticker sheet, just to fill in little gaps with what I had. I also used some of the Honey Bunny little enamel dots and some sparkles in there just to add a little bit of twinkle and tie in this glitter paper. I absolutely love these Easter photos, and I'm so glad that I got them documented on these pages. Now this should look familiar. This is my most recent video on my channel, and it was part of a Creative Design Team collaboration. Nice, bright, and happy. I did some embossing on these eggs. Those are stamps. And last time I checked, they're still in stock, but who knows by the time this posts if they will be or not. I have not done the journaling on this one yet, but it's the only one because it's my most recent, and I will make sure to do the journaling before it gets filed away. I cut the background on my Cricut, and I used the same color cardstock because the Close to My Heart cardstock is two-toned. So I used the darker side to cut this out of, and then I used the same color but on the lighter side, as well as I added some ink, so that makes this even darker. I will link this video down below for you guys. Now, if you remember the Good Life pack, this is one of the layouts from the workshop kit, and that launched in the fall time. And I love that it had a little bit of a farm element to it. And a lot of the papers were pretty neutral. You could use them for whatever, but I love this specialty paper that came just in the workshop. And those are actually still available on the website. So if you hadn't picked this up yet and you wanted to, it's there. I love the workshops, and that is one thing I'm so gonna miss about Close to My Heart because it makes building pages so incredibly easy. They tell you how to cut all the papers, where to put all the stickers and all the things, and of course you can always adapt it and go your own way. This one I did some sanding because the cardstock has a white core. When you sand it, you get this nice kind of distressed effect on it. I really love how that came out. We were actually visiting a little hobby farm within the city. They kind of have a museum, and they talk about agricultural history and things like that there. So we took Isabella, of course, to see the animals. That's always the favorite. I like how there's some simple embellishments on these pages, but not too much to take away or overwhelm the photos. Here is our next set of pages. Now, you may have seen pieces of this on my social media, but you probably haven't seen the full thing. These were a set of layouts that I designed for the National Stamping Month promotion that came out last September. And it's part of a free class that I gave away to people that purchased the bundle. So we have some stenciling going through here, a ton of stamping and ink blending. And actually the papers are all just some mix-in papers. I pulled the color scheme from her outfit and then just found papers that went along with that. I love these floral stamps, and they're actually still available, the Sending You a Hug Stampin' Thin Cuts, and they're in the clearance section. So if you love that kind of outline floral look, that would be a good one to grab. You'll notice my layouts are quite flat. I only have a couple things popped up here, the title and this flower here, but everything else is pretty flat. Because I'm making so many layouts these days, I'm trying to fit as much as I can into one album. Now here is another set of pages that you may not have seen. This is part of another creative design team membership class. Now I'm showing you the layout, but there's always more art than just a layout. I usually make several cards. There's always multiple pieces to each class. But for this one, it was all about die cuts. I do have a couple of photos covered up here because I'm talking about potty training. So I want to respect that and not show too much on the internet. I also have all my journaling hidden back here in a pocket. I had so much, actually, I just printed it out on my computer, stuck this little tab on here and stamped the story. These here are stacked die cuts. I love this butterfly die, and I cut it out in the kind of matching colors of cardstock to the pattern paper that's in the background, and then glued them on top. And the texture on this is just amazing. Visual texture, physical texture. I love how this turned out, and I kept my photos down lower so that that top could really shine. This beautiful paper is from the Memory Lane collection that launched last summer, and I actually got quite a few layouts out of this paper pack. I think I maybe have enough to do one more layout. Let me show you the other pages that I have here that I made from this paper. So the next 3 pages here are ones that are all part of a video that's on my channel, and I was basically documenting little stories from the summer. So I utilized a lot of stamps that are actually stamped on patterned paper and then cut out. This was the May stamp of the month that I stamped and cut out. I know it seems weird to have a skunk, but it actually goes with the story. And then I did some ink blending on the background and a little bit of splatter stamping. Splatter stamping never gets old. Same with ink blending on white backgrounds. Been really into that this year, and that probably will continue, I would imagine. I did end up cutting, like fussy cutting with scissors around my flowers. I have dies for these, but it leaves that extra border, and I preferred the look of just cutting right around it with my scissors. I did go in and add all my journaling, which is great to get that cute story told. Now from that same video, I did this one as well, and you could see very similar. I brought in this stamp set here. I stamped that same set several times across to fill in the whole bottom, and I didn't color it in because I like the idea of having all those flowers, but I didn't want to spend the time to color it in, and I really don't think it needs it because I have all this really pretty paper with colors on it. And then here I did some ink blending and then stamped my title over top. It's just a really cute and small story about what we were doing in the evenings during the summer. You can see I continued that ink blending and the splatter stamping. It was really working for me, so I just kept doing it. And then I added gold glitter gems, kind of clustered around those 2 areas. The final layout that I did from that collection, I have some more paper ripping here. You can see I've layered several of the patterns together. I loved this stripe paper, any sort of like rainbow stripe, multicolored stripe. I always love those. And so I wanted to make sure I featured a large chunk of it. This and this were both from an old stamp from my stash. We were out eating ice cream, and so I just knew I had to work that in there somewhere. And then I repeated the same things with the ink blending and the splatter stamping down below, and then the clustering of the gold glitter gems. These layouts were super fast to pull together, and because I stuck with white cardstock base, the same ink blending, the same splatter stamping, the same leaves. This is from the Sprigs and Leaves die. Some of these I cut out of sage. On the other layout, I used rosemary cardstock because both of those colors were in this paper pack. But you could see how it's kind of a design formula. I knew exactly what products I was working with, the butterfly dies, and then I just repeated and rearranged things and added in things that, maybe played up the theme a little bit more of that layout. But it's easier than having to start from scratch every time, especially for a single page layout. Okay, next here is a Sweet Memories layout. So this is a little bit more recent, and I do have a video on my channel for this one. I used one of the designs from the creative design team 12x12 sketchbook. Love using sketches, and our 12x12 book has been so much fun to use. I'm going to continue making layouts from it and working my way through. Most of these are embellishments from the collection, whether it was stickers or if I cut it out from the pattern paper. More of that Sprigs and Leaves die. I love that thing. I've cut it out so many times I can't even tell you. But I knew I wanted to fit a lot of these pictures on here. Super cute. The story is basically about us cuddling up in our bed. And then, of course, Frankie, our little wiener dog, just worshiping the sun there. He is a sun dog, and he loves his naps. I did use some of the Spectrum Noir paint pens on the little paperboard accents. So they're kind of like a thin chipboard. I think these were gray, but I didn't want any more gray on here. Like they were kind of a darker gray. So I decided to brighten them up and add some shine with the paint pen. Same with on the title. And then I also have these frames. That's that postage stamp frame. It's 3x3. I use some of it there, some of it here, and some of it here. So keeping that repetition going through my clusters to kind of tie everything together. I have one more layout from that National Stamping Month special class that I made. I also did like a whole bunch of cards and techniques, but this is the other layout I did. And I was talking all about how my daughter learned how to do so many more things at the park this year and was way more fearless. I dug into my stash for the papers. This is just Lagoon cardstock, and I used the quadrant stencil on here. So you like build your own little quadrants. This is that same flower stamp that I showed you before, but this one I did not fussy cut. Because I did it just on cardstock, I just left it whole and just die cut it with the dies. I did not want to spend time, especially on the leaves, trying to fussy cut those. No way. With the solid instead of like a pattern paper, I didn't mind that at all. And I could have added some shading, but I really didn't think it needed it. I added some little like enamel dots around my clusters. And I like this page design because it's a little bit more unique. You don't usually see like your blocks separated by this, but I thought it was a great idea for when you have a large story and maybe the story is really important. I know our stories are always important, but sometimes you have something more you want to say or you want that to be more of a focus. And I think someone is more likely to actually read this when it's so prominent on the page as compared to tucked in beside somewhere. These stamps for my words were actually part of that special as well, and I love that they have matching dies. I hope I can get some more use out of these as well because they make really good page titles. This single layout is one that's on my channel. I did it fairly recently, and I used some more of that Sweet Memories paper. So a completely different look. I actually did some collage stamping on here, and I love doing that sort of stamping. This was for an Oscar themed awards dinner kind of thing. You can see more of the Sprigs and Leaves die. This time I actually cut it out of the black ore paper, so it has a nice little shine to it. This die here I cut out of the UV coated cardstock, so it's like high gloss. And I like that punch of red that really tied in this red here. And then I also had little hits of red ink throughout here just to kind of keep that color tied in around the page. I also used the new outline alphabet. This one hopefully is restocking in April. It's an awesome alphabet set, and I cut the middle part out of gold foil paper, and then I cut the outside out of black ore. You probably can't even tell that it's not just regular black cardstock, but it looks pretty shiny and fabulous in person. I also matted my photos with glitter paper. Now, it's not something I do often because, glitter paper is expensive and I don't want to use that for my mats all the time. But for something fancy like this, I just love that shine around the photos, kind of makes them glow a little bit. And when you're doing something so fancy, you kind of need some blingy photo mats. Here's another set of layouts from the Good Life Scrapbooking workshop. And I think I made these pretty close to what the workshop showed, except I did add these leaf stamps. These were really big leaf stamps, so they definitely hold their own on a scrapbook page. I did stamp them in the color, and then I used the same color of ink to ink blend on them and just add a little bit of shading to them. The other pieces you see here are either stickers or die cuts that come in the workshop kit. And even though we have a lot of blue tones going on here, I think it works perfectly with my photos with her blue jeans and then the contrast of all the yellows and oranges, all the fall colors. And of course, you can't go wrong with a wood grain background. Okay, the last set of pages from the Good Life Scrapbooking workshop. I think this paper, yes, this was custom paper that came in the kit. So I don't know if you can see, it has a very subtle kind of pattern to it. That is one nice thing with the kits. They usually have custom pattern paper that coordinates with the kit, but you can't really get it any other way. And for this one, I added some stamping to it. These really pretty fall flowers, and I colored those up with my tri-blend markers. This was colored as well, and I believe I used colored pencils to do that one. So this was a custom die cut that came in the workshop kit, and then it was just black and white, and then I just shaded it with my pencils. I absolutely love these photos that I took of Isabella. It's always fun to have a little photo shoot. Lots of times my friend Michelle will do really cute and adorable photo shoots with her. This time I took her out, capture all the beautiful fall colors, and I ended up with so many cute pictures. It was just really nice. I had a hard time narrowing down which photos I wanted to use actually. It's always nice when that happens. I mean, we like having options, right? Okay, let's go from fall into winter. So I believe I have a video on my channel for this layout, and I actually added quite a bit of stamping to this one. Now, I do love to stamp on my layouts. I never used to, but I definitely do it a lot now. This was made with the Evergreen workshop. This is also the collection that I used for my December Daily album, which I have not shared yet, but now it's so far past Christmas, I'm just gonna wait and share it with you guys when we're a little bit closer to Christmas again. Now you can see I pulled in more of that ink blending on the background, and this time I also did some stamping. So for this one, I used a background stamp, and I believe I used an inking tool to add ink to only part of the stamp. And that's how you get these nice kind of fading out parts. Instead of like a harsh line, I just pounced the ink onto the stamp and then stamped it, and then you get that nice faded look where it just like fades off into nothing. This is a stamp that came in the snowflake set with all of these, and these little shapes here actually came in the workshop kit as like little punch out die cuts. These two here are from a stamp set, so I stamped those and then die cut them, and then all of these are die cuts and stickers that came from the kit as well. Now you can see how I carried that over to this side, so I kind of have like a nice little cascade going here. I repeated the elements with the trees. I tried it both ways and I thought it just looked too empty, so I ended up layering up some more trees over there. And I believe this was actually a layout from the workshop kit, but I kind of tweaked it and reworked it a little bit to fit what I wanted. That's the nice thing with the workshop kits. You can do it just as it is. You don't have to think about it, or you can make it fit your photos or tweak it to be exactly what you want. This die cut over here for my journaling, that was from the kit as well. And then I do have these really nice little kind of glittery enamel dots. And those actually were from the silver and gold collection, but they went perfectly with this one as well. We might as well continue on with that evergreen collection from the workshop kit. This is pretty similar to the workshop, but I did tweak a few things. I think there was supposed to be a different arrangement on this page, so I kind of moved things around to suit this. I have ink blending on my background. This is a subtle paper that was in the workshop as a specialty paper. And then I did some splattering over here, and you can see that is metallic. And I believe I used some pearlescent watercolor, and that's how I got those nice shiny little splatters there. I repeated that over here for my other clusters as well, and I like how that looks on top of that inked background. All of these are die cuts from the workshop, and I think it works really well because it pulls your eye right through the layout. I have one more from this collection, so let's have a look at that. Some fun out walking through the snow, walking through the forest kind of pictures. And these were from the same workshop, so we have kind of the same elements going on. Except this one, I did not ink blend on the background. This is another one of the custom papers that came in that kit. And then I splattered it with that watercolor, that iridescent watercolor again. Same thing over here. So I actually built my clusters and everything, built my pages first, and I splattered as a last step. I often like to do that. Yes, it's risky because you might accidentally get your photos or something that you don't want to splatter, but I usually just cover it up with a piece of printer paper, and typically it works out just fine. But I like the look of it being on top of the leaves and the greenery as well as the background. I just think it kind of meshes everything together. We got lots of die cuts and stickers on these pages. And definitely lots of layers, lots of paper layers. And I didn't have to think too hard about it because this was all in the workshop design. Now, my next layout is one that probably most of you have not seen. This was another one from the Creative Design Team membership. So you're getting lots of peek at membership artwork here. So this one I did a lot of stamping, and I was actually showing how to create custom stencils for your stamps. So you can see how I have ink blended 2 different colors on here because I cut some layered stencils that matched my stamps. Definitely a favorite technique, and I love that once you do this, you can keep those stencils and use them over and over and over again. I have a lot of glitter paper going on here because it's Christmas. You can't have too much glitter. And I have the little like wreath kind of designs in the back with gold. I have pine glitter paper for all the little greenery pieces. I have some scarlet glitter paper for this cute little bow. And I pulled a ton of different sets to get all of these pieces. And then I also have some pearl paper here. So I don't know if it's showing up as shiny, but it looks kind of glowy. That's because this is pearl paper. I repeated that bow design because I wanted to carry that across the page to kind of make everything flow together. I love this stamp title. I stamped and embossed that title, and I also used that in my December daily because I wanted to get as much use out of it as I possibly could. This over here is a Cricut cut, and I just printed some small photos in black and white because her snowsuit is actually purple, and I really didn't want to add purple since I had like beautifully coordinating photos. I did not want to add like bright purple to this, so I just turned them to black and white. She was just obsessed with her little reindeer ears that she got, and she wanted to wear them over her snowsuit. So that's what those photos are all about. I had a lot of fun doing all the stenciling on here. I definitely wouldn't have used this many flowers if I wasn't using stencils to color, because if I was using markers or something, that would be a lot of coloring. But coloring your images with blending brushes is super fast and easy if you have the right stencils. Now, if you're ready to see some more pages of mine, you can click here on this playlist and you can binge watch all of my layout share videos. I have shared a lot. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.